Hi everyone, welcome to SceneDaily.com and another edition of the Pontificating Pundits.
You got that out fine.
I did too. All right, I'm Steve Waid.
I'm Kris Johnson.
Hey Kris, we got a new entity in NASCAR for 2009. It was recently announced that Richard Petty Motorsports will field 4 cars this year. This is a combination of Gillett Evernham Motorsports and basically Petty Enterprises. Well, let's just say Richard Petty, who is a co-owner of the team. Pretty interesting development, I think.
Well, I think it's nice to see Richard Petty be able to stay in the sport in some shape or form. Yeah. It's also there's a bit of sadness when you think that the death of Petty Enterprises, as we've talked about in this week's issue of Scene, that's just kind of the reality of the situation. But it's nice that Richard found a way to stay in the sport. I mean, he's gone through all these different iterations with Boston Ventures, moving the team to Mooresville. You could say Petty Enterprises hasn't been Petty Enterprises for 10 years, but it's nice to see him remain as an ambassador for the sport.
Well, let's make it perfectly clear that Gillett Evernham Motorsports really wasn't after Petty Enterprises. As far as Petty Enterprises is concerned, the assets there weren't many. As Kris mentioned, the team hadn't quite been itself for 10 years and made many changes, tried to get back to competitiveness, and nothing really worked. The smart thing here is, as Kris said, Richard Petty is still in the sport. That's the value. You've got one of the icons of the sport, a guy with a lot of charisma, a guy people who don't even follow NASCAR knows who he is. He can bring so much to that team in terms of recognition, and let's face it, marketing, and perhaps even acquiring sponsors.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that's where his value lies at this point in his career, and he's probably the icon, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, yeah.
I think you'd have to say that. When it comes to their competitiveness this year, though, looking ahead, how good are they going to be?
Well,
I mean, you got Kasey Kahne,
right,
who's probably the upper echelon driver there, obviously, but he didn't fare so well last year, and I don't think there's going to be any the magic elixir here. They're going to need to find the right combination teams, drivers, and they've already had the unsettled state of Elliott Sadler and his 19 team, so could be an interesting year for them.
Yeah, the lineup is Kasey Kahne, Elliott Sadler, and Reed Sorensen is going to drive the number 43 car. So the 43 car is still a part of NASCAR. That's a good thing. That car will have several different sponsors during the course of the year, as far as we know right now. And there'll be a 44 car, another Petty number, that will be driven by A.J. Allmendinger right now, I think, on a part-time basis. But you're right, Kris. We have to wait and see how the competitiveness of this team will fare. To be honest with you, though, it's been a better team since 1999 than Richard Petty, Petty Enterprises has been, because they've got 15 victories. Yeah. You know, Petty Enterprises really had nothing, so the odds are good that the team will perform better. I'm very interested to see how Kasey Kahne will rebound this year, if Elliott Sadler will get over his little spat there with the Gillett Evernham Motorsports, and how Reed Sorensen will do in that 43 car. That's the key thing. If he can perform in that 43 car at a higher level than we've seen it in the past, and it has been bad with Bobby Labonte aboard, but if he can perform at a higher level in that 43 car, fans are really going to enjoy that.
It's so hard to think that, you know, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Petty Enterprises' last win with Johnny Andretti at Martinsville. 10 years. That's a long time.
Unbelievable.
And again, I feel bad for the people that work for Petty Enterprises for years and years and years that are out of work now.
Right.
And I hate to see that kind of get lost in the shuffle. And now that Petty is still in the sport, there's still a lot of people out there that are suffering right now, and that's something that shouldn't be overlooked.
Well, Robbie Loomis from Petty Enterprises has come over to Richard Petty Motorsports to direct the racing operations. I think that's a very wise move on their part, no question about that. I also think that this team is going to bear a lot of scrutiny this year because it is Richard Petty Motorsports. Petty fans, and there are thousands and thousands of them, are going to pay close attention to what goes on with this team this year. Among other things, you mentioned the layoffs, the economic things that have happened that have forced teams to make adjustments like this. So I think that the Petty team now is going to receive a lot of scrutiny, and some others are as well.
Well, I hope they do well. Yeah. I really do. Be a good thing for the new year.
Yeah, and it's great to have Richard Petty stay in the sport, and it's great to have a 43 car back out there on the track. Okay,
Amen.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's about all the time we have. I'm Steve Waid, and for Kris Johnson, take care of yourselves. Say goodbye, Kris.
Goodbye,
Kris. Heck, if you can't beat them, join them.